Hey everyone, welcome back to the show. My guest today is Gagan Grewal, CEO of Mogul Productions. Mogul Productions is a decentralized film financing platform that brings together film makers, movie fans, film financiers, and anyone looking to contribute to make sure the best movies are made. Gagan is going to give us a little bit about himself, Mogul Productions, and how Web 3.0 is changing the film industry. That's all next. Stay tuned. You know what? Let's get right into it because I'm interested in what you're doing, and I have a couple of people who are actually in the music industry
Okay.
and entertainment who I think would be very interested in what you're doing. So, could you give me a brief? What is Mogul and what you're doing? From what I understand, it's decentralized film financing. Is that correct?
Yeah, it is, right? So if we were to break it down, we were to talk about, what does that mean? Like film financing right now it's quite fragmented and difficult to understand, as is in the music industry, right? You gotta run around to the studios to try to get some money every now and then. You're doing some gap financing. You've got some cash from this guy, but you don't have it from this guy, and it gets tough to make something. So what we're really trying to do is like imagine opening the doors and the windows into a very opaque business through the transparency of blockchain, right? So if we're able to get to what we want to be able to do here, we're talking about the creation of a decentralized pool of capital in which like financiers are all hold a stake in the success of the films that are produced by the platform. So, it's kind of like a big jargon here, but like really what this is it's using blockchain technology to finance independent films under the $5 million space.
Nice. So, how does DeFi factor into that?
Yeah, it's what you're doing is you're enabling the audience and fans to be able to partake and share in the profit sharing and the revenue
Mm.
that's being made here. So we've created this token system called Stars, and I'll get into that in a quick second. But let me tell you about the platform a little bit first. Picture a platform built for three different users. Okay, we've got creatives, we've got fans, and then we've got contributors.
Okay.
So if you're a creative in the space and you've got an independent movie that you want to get financed, you submit it to our platform. We take a look at the viability of that film. So we'll take a look at things like the genre, the runtime, who are the actors that you have attached to it. Have you taken a look at where you want to get it filmed? What are the tax credits associated with that area? We'll look at all these different pieces. And if we've got some feedback for you, we'll give you some feedback. But if we like the project and we think that our fans will engage with it, we then take it to the next level, which is showcasing to our fans. At that point, the fans engage with the platform. They tell us what they like, what they don't like. They get rewarded for that engagement as well. And then whichever movie or film gets the most votes, that's the one that ends up getting financed. And that's where that whole decentralization and DeFi comes in for us.
So it's like democratizing filmmaking.
That's exactly it.
Okay. So, but I mean, that would still apply to the music industry because that they do music videos. So it's,
Well,
it's
you know
still
what? It's interesting that you bring that up because that's actually something that we've spoken about quite a bit,
okay.
especially with what we've been creating. And then if you take a look at it, there's this composition that needs to be created for films as well, and music needs to accompany it. It's one of those industries that really go hand in hand.
Yeah.
So that's something that we've been chatting about quite a bit and trying to figure out, is that next steps? How does that all play into this?
So if a person signed up for Mogul and on the day of launch, so by the time this round releases, it would have already been launched.
Yeah.
What would they see? What would they be presented with?
Yeah, it's fairly simple. Like essentially, you sign up, you create an account, and you get to check out the showcase. So if you're creative and you're part of the industry, you get to upgrade the account that you have and connect it to your IMDb.
Mm,
It's a chance to get whitelisted for future access to our stars tokens, and it's really about getting ready for the mainnet release, which is going to be coming soon and starting to vote on projects.
oh, nice. So if I had an IMDb in the far future, I could, I could,
We'll get you one.
I
Yeah.
could, I could attach it to Mogul, and then I could take advantage of the platform.
That's exactly it. So you can access it as a creative and attach it to your IMDb and start submitting projects to us. But as a fan, you to create your profile and engage in the platform and talk to us about the movies that are in the showcase and what you like and what you don't like.
Gotcha. So as far as stars, how are the stars? How are stars used? Like how? I guess the first question is how would a user who's using the platform get a hold of some stars?
Yeah, it's think of stars as the in-app currency, right?
Mm.
So we have a number of tiers of stars access where you can come in and you can essentially purchase stars if you like. But the big component of what we're doing as well is we're rewarding our fans for the engagement. For the more they get involved in the platform, the more they contribute to the showcase that we have, the more stars they're rewarded. Once they have these stars, they're able to kind of redeem them for really cool rewards, access to things that they wouldn't otherwise get. On-set visits, maybe a call with the producer. Maybe you've got a really cool piece of artwork that you want to get hung up in the back of some scene. We can do that as well. So what happens is with the stars launch, we have these tiers. Depending on the tier that you're a part of, that allows you to access the different rewards and redeem those stars accordingly.
Excellent, excellent. So one word that I've been hearing a lot in DeFi lately is quadratic voting. I'm going to need you to give me the layman's term on that one. So
Yeah, man, it's
what
that's
exactly is that?
that's a really fun one, right? It's okay. So it took a lot of work to figure out, and it's super complicated. But in absolute simplicity, what it does is it prevents vote buying. So
Mm,
if you've got one person that's just got a ton of stars,
mhm.
their first vote counts for more than their second vote does, than their third vote does, and their fourth vote does. So what it does is it really gives us the ability to understand what the crowd wants. And then this lets us know. So the quadratic voting is really a way for us to be able to actually garner real interest as opposed to just one person's interest.
Oh, nice. Okay. So
Does that make it easy? I hope it does.
yeah, no, no. In fact, you know what? I think what we'll do to make it easier on the viewers is we'll put a link to like a couple of pages about what it is so that they can learn more.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah, we'd love that.
because I hear that term a lot in DeFi, especially in governance issues, because you have to have a way to make it fair, you
That's
know,
exactly it. Yeah,
and
and
that's
I think
where,
it's a very strong component of it for sure.
yeah, definitely. So let me ask you a little bit about yourself. How did you first get into blockchain? What was the aha moment for you?
Yeah, it's an interesting story. Like I've always been really involved in technology, and I was actually in the recruiting business for a number of years as well, dating back to the early 2000s, and that was kind of figuring out what user experience was and how back end and front end all came together. And then I was introduced to blockchain in 2014, and I took a look at it. And I'm an operations and finance guy. My background is finance, so when I came across this, I took a look at decentralization, the peer-to-peer networks, the technology that it's built on,
Right.
and I just started getting really excited about it. And then with Mogul, I joined as CEO, geez, 6 months ago, 4 months ago, something like that now. And really, my love for that is independent films. I love movies. I love getting lost
Right.
in movies and being able to relate to characters, right? And
Right.
and then how technology and specifically blockchain technology, I think, is going to be able to change it.
Definitely. So, are there any other? Well, I mean, I don't know if you even want to answer this question, but are there any other? Like, who's your competition? Like, is this something that you're seeing a lot of people moving into in the near future?
I see a lot of people talking about it, and there's definitely companies that are trying to say, hey, they're working on something like this, and they're trying to create some cool platforms. But
Mm.
in all honesty, I don't see anyone as our own, like as our competitor. And the things that we're focusing on, I think, are a little different than what some of the other guys out there are focusing on. And so, no, I don't really see a competitor for us in the space.
All right, so you're first to the market. That's always good.
I like to think so. Yeah.
So, are there plans to roll out to other entertainment industries aside from film? Because we talked about music, but literature, books, things like that.
I think that's something that we'll explore as it comes up. Right now, we really want to focus on the film side, and this is what our core business is.
Hmm.
What we've built here is a platform that really enhances the user experience. We wanted to make sure that we brought on the right people to be able to advise on all the components, to be able to take a look at, hey, what does blockchain want? what does the entertainment industry want, what crypto people want, like, and kind of create something that spoke to everyone and made it really easy for everyone. So I do think that if we were to look into, let's say, music and other industries,
Mhm.
we'd want to make sure we did the same, right? If we were to talk about the group that, the team that we've built here, and who we've got on board, we've, oh God, like I've got a note here somewhere that I probably won't be able to find, but like, our team is very experienced, right? Like we've got, amongst them, not Mogul, but the team that we've created here, they've got over 95 feature films that they've made, something like over $425 million in box office revenue,
Nice.
uh,
Nice.
225 hours of content. They've been nominated for Emmys and won. Same with Oscars, a few Golden Globes, I think, in there as well. So, again, if we were to expand into any other industry, I think we'd want to make sure we channeled all the right pieces doing that.
Now, who's who's your team? Who's your co-founders, or was it just you yourself doing it?
No, we've got a team of co-founders. The story is actually interesting. I'm gonna dive into that real quickly first because I think it's fun,
Okay.
and it dates back a few years, really, to remember when Deadpool was coming out and there was all this hype around it, right?
Oh
We were
yeah.
sitting around with a few guys one night, and we were getting ready for a dinner, and one of the guys that we were with was actually working on the set of Deadpool at the time, right? And so we started chatting about, like, oh, we're so excited to see this movie, and like, how cool is it that they're making it? And we inevitably and invariably kind of got into the conversation around, well, it sat on the studio's desk for something like 8 years before it was ever made.
Yeah.
And they had a very different idea for what they wanted, and the fans had a very different idea for what they wanted. And until this proof of concept trailer was leaked. And
Mhm.
then we're like, oh, like, how cool is that? And we were talking about blockchain and peer-to-peer and decentralization and all this.
Right.
And all of this kind of just started coming together. And we're like, that's exactly what this is. Like, the fact that fans are able to get behind something, and then really say that this is what we want to see, let's push it, and really kind of encourage the studios into making Deadpool, which at the time became the highest R-rated grossing movie of all time, and I think now is number two.
Number two.
And that's kind of where the founding vision and the team started coming together. And really, it's the group of guys we were all sitting around with that day, and a couple of ladies, and we kind of took it from there.
Nice. So are you so the product rolls out on Thursday, is that correct?
Yeah, the platform launch is this Thursday coming up, which we're really excited about. And then the main net's coming very shortly, and just get ready for it, because that's going to be the exciting stars component and everything else that comes together too.